All right, gracious afternoon to all those who are watching me across the state, because it's grace that keeps us going. And again, I say welcome to another interesting year and a year of fulfillment. And they say agendas are made to follow a vision. An agenda is a broken vision into parts. So putting these agendas into action is an important element of governance and economic development. Again, I welcome you to a fulfilling 2025. I wish all my viewers Happy New Year, and I say thank you for following me through this journey in the last 5 years of my reversion to media, and of course to Silverbird Television. I want to say many thanks, many thanks. I started my media career from this very station at Sabo unit, exactly 20 years ago and few months, over 2 decades ago. So I'm proud to be an ambassador and associate of this brand, Silverbird Group. And of course, it's another interesting edition of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, your executive producer, your script writer, name it. Even though I have a team of technical and I have a wonderful team, yes, starting from Francis, from Maye, of course, so many of them, Way Help, Clement, everybody. I want to say thank you guys for being a wonderful team. And I hope that this 2025 is going to be a wonderful one. And of course, without not leaving my wonderful, amiable, dedicated, committed PA secretary, name it, of course, being I Shokpeyi. Many thanks for being a dedicated soul to all that concerns the Real Talk, and of course ZEDED, and of course an extension of my own. We appreciate you. So guys, I think it's important for us to hear what On This Day in History segment asks for us. When I return, I'll give my 2 cents on it. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. I think my takeaway from On This Day initial segment, this new episode of 2025 is the independence constitution that marks Nigeria's transitioning to self-rule, yet our failure to address ethnical tensions and resource controls affect us struggling for federal equity and inclusion. And we as a people, we are blessed by resources and of course by human resources as well in terms of people. And of course, the earlier we start seeing beyond politics and self-interest, the better for us. I think that's the takeaway from On This Day initial segment today. I think it's important for us to get a quick message from my sponsors, those who have put me on this platform. And when I return, we'll dive straight to the topic and now stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. The start of 2025 brings renewed attention to Nigeria's socio-economic challenges, the governance reforms, and of course, security concerns. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration at its midterm faces highlighting public scrutiny following his January 4th speech, which outlined critical steps towards national recovery and growth. As Nigerians await the implementation of key promises such as economic diversification, job creation, and improved security, the conversation on the state of the nation has never been more urgent. On New Year's Day, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu addressed the nation and One of the key salient contents of his message was, and I quote, "In 2025, our government is committed to intensifying efforts to lower these costs by boosting food production and promoting local manufacturing of essential drugs, essential drugs and other medical supplies. We are resolute in our ambition to reduce inflation from its current high of 34.6% to 15%. With diligent work and God's help," he said, "we will achieve this goal and provide relief to all our people." So, on the live show today, the discussion will delve into Nigeria's current economic weather, the inflation, the socio-political climate, will I say the analysis and the successive and challenges of the Tinubu's administration, highlighting the next steps towards fulfilling its agenda of 2025. Before we delve into real talk with my guest, I think it's important for us to play guest profile, and when we return, you agree with me that he's the right person to, lend his voice on this topic. And stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Let me quickly usher in my guest. Again, welcome to the show, Mr. Bayo Onanuga. It's a pleasure to have you from the presidency to talk to us today on our lunch show as the Special Advisor of Information and Strategy to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You will be providing Nigerians within and abroad a more informed discussion on the presidential agenda for 2025. But before I ask you my first question, I must, lend my voice to say well done with all that you've been doing thus far, in terms of impacting the society and, of course, creating an enabling environment for us to all meet together in the unity of hope. My first question to you, sir. I know that, you've spoken about, people farming from their home and the likes and all of that. I've seen one of your videos that trended last year, where you were at your home, where you were trying to water some plant and all of that. I know the reactions of Nigerians, but let me put that aside. How will the 2025 budget address rising unemployment and poverty levels across the country with only 5.18% of the budget allocated to health? How will Nigeria meet its healthcare needs amidst global aid reductions?
Well, budget provision is not cast in stone. What you see, what was read on the floor of the Senate or National Assembly was an estimate. If there's need for more money, there's always a provision for what you call supplementary budget. What was provisioned in the budget, in the proposed budget, is just a proposal. And it can be expanded. National Assembly can expand it or reduce it. But as I said, if there's need for more money, the government will not hesitate to go to the assembly to ask for something supplementary. So I think for now, that budget is adequate. We are talking about taking of our health. It's not only government alone. I said we are expecting a lot of private sector investment in our health sector. Once we are building more factories to produce drugs, we are building factories to shun out all kinds of things. We are going to be creating more and more jobs as this kind of things happen.
Let's move into the communication issue, because there has always been some sort of communication lag between the government and the people, which has led to people not understanding the rationale behind some reforms and policies by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government. You know, the National Orientation Commission and engaging the public may go a long way in strengthening this role. How does this administration plan to improve this? There's a reason why I'm bringing this communication issue to fore, because there's been a lot of controversy on it online. What's your take on this?
Well, I think this government is doing a lot in that area. It's good you mentioned the National Orientation Agency. The agency is doing a lot to communicate with our people, to bring government agenda down to the grassroots. The NOA is all over the country, in all the 774 local councils. It's everywhere. And it's put a lot of things in motion to help to enlighten our people about government objectives, about government programs, and so on. And in this new year, 2025, I can tell you categorically that the agency will go out there in full throttle and to help educate our people about what government has been doing. Don't forget, it is the year that this agency is planning to launch what we call national value charter, to properly situate our people, to let them understand the meaning of citizenship, so that everybody can really see the value in identifying yourself as a Nigerian and being a patriotic Nigerian. What we do online at times, many Nigerians like denigrating their countries. This is not good for us as a nation. We have our challenges, but this is still a great country. I'm proud to be a Nigerian, and I'm sure millions of us are proud of our country. It's not good for us to go out there to start bad-mouthing Nigeria, as we say in Nigeria. It's not good. There's a lot of value in being patriotic citizens of this country. So let me just say that on the behalf of government, this government is putting everything in motion to enlighten our people about its programs, to enlighten our people about its objectives, and to let people understand that what it has been doing all this while is for the benefit of our people, is to put our economy in a solid pedestal so that this country can progress, can be on a sustainable path of progress and prosperity.
Many thanks again for that wonderful insight from your end. And I agree with you that there's a lot of value in being patriotic in Nigeria. But moving away from that, I want to touch on the oil production now, because even in my own This Day in History segment today, you know, I highlighted that you know, we are reaching people, not just concentrating on oil, but with oil production projected to hit 2 million barrels per day in 2025. How does this government plan to ensure transparency and equitable distribution of oil revenues? What is being done, sir, to alleviate the immediate impact of high fuel prices despite CNG buses initiative? I've seen a lot of CNG buses initiative. A lot of people have different opinions about it, but what's your take thus far with this question?
Well, again, you are putting so many things together. The CNG initiative, not just CNG, even electric vehicles, as an initiative, they are all to show Nigerians that there are alternatives to petrol or to diesel. CNG is cheaper than petrol, cheaper than diesel, and I can tell you that many Nigerians now are embracing it. In some parts of the country, even starting from Borno State has invested a lot of money in getting electric bikes, and they've launched them, and the people are using them. And it's also to show that there's an alternative. All of us cannot be burning fossil fuel, contaminating the environment, the atmosphere, and that's why government is moving to that direction. And we have seen a lot of private sector investment not just government alone, private sector bringing their money to expand the CNG initiative, in setting up conversion centers, in quickening the pace of converting petrol vehicles into CNG vehicles. All these things are going on. So as to oil production, the government, if once you have peace in Niger Delta, you are going to get more increased production. And then what you also find is that many IOCs that some of our people erroneously thought were leaving the country, they are not leaving the country. They are merely shifting their investments from the land to the sea. Look at Shell and its partners. Shell just announced last month that it's investing close to $5 billion in Bonga North oil field. That will bring jobs. That will create jobs for our people. And you can see also a lot of activities in that sector, even by indigenous companies, taking over the assets left by the IOCs, like Shell, like Mobil, and so on. So they are going to, as they move into all those assets, they are going to create more jobs and bring more prosperity to our country. Also, by so doing, they also increase the volume of oil that we pump every day. So the prospects are there. We have no doubt that things are going to get much better in 2025. And it means once we are producing more fuel, more crude, we are going to get more foreign exchange, and the federation account will increase, and our states and everybody will get more money to invest in public infrastructure, money to invest in agriculture, money to build factories, and money to create far more jobs than we have today.
Many thanks again for that elaborate submission. My next question before we go on a quick break is about the proposed tax reforms, which could unlock 7.5 billion annually, 7.5 billion naira, I beg your pardon, annually. How would these funds be deployed to enhance the fiscal sustainability and reduce the debt burdens?
Well, I'm not sure the figure you quoted is correct. The tax reforms, there are 4 bills. Some are just administrative, changing the name of Federal Land Revenue Service to Nigeria Revenue something, and the other. So it's not just about it's more than just unlocking 7.5, but that's very little. That's not the amount. That's the figure. I'm not sure your figure is correct. But what I know is that the whole essence of the tax bill, or the 4 tax bills, is to widen the net, to give relief to the poor people of Nigeria. Anybody who's earning below 1 million naira a year will not pay tax under the reforms being envisaged, that is now before the National Assembly. If your earning is not up to 1 million, no tax. If you run a small company and your turnover is not above 50 million naira a year, no tax. It will give a lot of relief to our people. It will give more comfort to companies operating in Nigeria. It will enable them, for those who are low-income earners, if they are not paying tax on the little money they earn, it means they can begin to accumulate capital, add some savings, and this will go a long way to help all of them. So the tax reform bill, I said, widen the net, let the rich people pay tax. A lot of them are not paying tax. And I can assure you that those who are now clamoring against it, who are against the tax reform bills, some of them are just, they are politicians. Some of them are doing a lot of mischief. Some of them are not even read the tax reform bills, and are just criticizing it because somebody criticized it, and they're also just criticizing it. So that's what's going on.
All right, many thanks again. We'll go on a quick break to get a word from my sponsors. When I return, the conversation will continue. Do not change the station. This is Real Talk with Kike. I'll be right back. All All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the presidential address on January 1st and his agenda for 2025. I'm honored to host Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the special advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on information and strategy, with his extensive background in journalism and public communication. Mr. Bayo Onanuga is at the forefront of crafting and communicating the Tinubu's administration agenda for 2025. And of course, he's joined us thus far to explore the state of the nation, the presidential priorities for economic recovery, and the strategies to address Nigerians' most critical challenges. Again, I want to say many thanks, sir, for all your submission thus far, and I would appreciate if your camera is a little bit tilted, because there's a lot of headroom behind you, so that we can get a better visuals of you. Fantastic, sir. Many thanks again for all your submission thus far. But quickly, let me open the phone lines for those who would like to be part of this conversation, who would love to hear from you directly. The number to call is 081-188-88113. It will be showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live from Facebook, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and of course on Silverbird platform on Facebook. Sir, with measures, or will I say, I take that back, what measures are in place to ensure that agricultural investments and tariff waivers, as mentioned by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, translate into tangible benefit for farmers and food security? Because earlier, when we opened the program, you were talking about, farming, and I felt that farming is important in as much as you have, illustrated that earlier last year, and of course, you have also led by example by showing us your own garden, and I feel that I needed to bring this conversation to fall again.
Well, the tariff waiver has not been done. There are some administrative issues connected to the tariff waiver. The government also lists the big agri farms that are going to benefit from it. They are going to be allowed to bring in the essential food items that we need, like rice, like sorghum, like millet, beans, and so on and so forth. I think these have been worked out. The time frame that we have has already expired, and we expect that government in the new year will renew this tariff, and then maybe come out with the companies that should be importing food. But what is important is that government is being careful. It doesn't want just to open the doors to bring in food, so that it doesn't again shoot itself in the leg by doing things that will hurt the economy. We have farmers who are producing food. We don't want to come in, bring in food, and then discourage local production. That's one of the things stalling the implementation of the tariff. But government is committed to it. I'm sure government will work out something this new year to see how this thing can be done. In the meantime, government, if you listen to what the president said even in October, this government is bringing in tractors. Over 2,000 tractors are going to be assembled locally for distribution to all the 36 states and the FCT to mechanize agriculture. It's not just about subsistence farming now, it's about our people being able to do farming in a big way. The bigger you do farming, the more production you're going to have, the more output you're going to have on your farm, and so on. So all these processes are on. Improved seedlings is also there, part of what government is doing to make sure that we get a big boost on our land. And all this will help, as I said, to reduce the food costs. There are many agri farms in Nigeria already. I know that many young people are going back to the farm, they're setting up their own farmlands, and they're investing in that area. So I'm sure we soon see all these efforts coming from various fronts crystallizing to the benefit of the country in terms of revenue, not just for cash crops, also for food crops in the next few months, this year, 2025.
Thanks for that insight right there. But, the Naira is losing value day by day, sir. What specific strategies are in place to stabilize the Naira and improve Nigerians' exchange rates? Because The banking sector recapitalization is critical for a $1 trillion economy by 2030, they said. What safeguards are in place to ensure that this process, benefits all Nigerians?
Well, I disagree with you, Kiki. The Naira is not losing value day by day. The Naira is waxing stronger. If you know where we were some months ago when Naira was almost moving towards 2,000 Naira to a dollar, today is much lower. Naira has appreciated. The CBN rate is in the region of 1,500 Naira, 500 and something Naira. And the parallel market, the unofficial market is 1,600 and something. So the Naira is not getting worse and worse. The Naira is appreciating. And the government is committed to ensure that the Naira keeps waxing stronger. The budget for this year, for instance, the Naira has been marked at 1,500 Naira. It could even do much better, but that's the rate that the government wants to operate with at 1,500 Naira. So the Naira is not getting worse. The Naira is getting better. This government doesn't want to make the same error that the previous government made by spending $1.5 billion every month in shoring up the value of the Naira. At the time when you have multiple exchange rates, almost about 3-4 rates of the Naira. The parallel market was selling at almost double the price that they were selling at the official market. But that is no longer so. You can see the gap between official and parallel narrowing. And that is, I can say, some progress. I think for our people, honestly, the solution to giving value to the Naira lies in our hands, the hands of Nigerians. We need to reduce all this appetite for imported goods and so on. Let us, just as we advocate that we should grow what we want to eat, we should also begin to also patronize what we produce in our country, either food or shoes or clothes and things like that. Things made in Nigeria, let us as citizens begin to think about Nigeria first. And if you don't buy what is made in Nigeria and you always long for things made outside Nigeria, you cannot improve the value of Naira. It will get worse. So part of it is not just government, even us as Nigerians, we have a role to play in showing up the value of our currency. Even the education of our children. Our universities, some of them are good. If you don't want to go to government universities, you can send your children, if you have money to send them abroad, for instance, why don't you send them to Febala University, Babcock, or Covenant? Very good universities are producing great products. These are the things we need to rethink. Otherwise, if everybody is going to the market to buy currency, to buy dollar, the value will always get worse and worse. But as I said, as of today, the Naira is not depreciating, the Naira is appreciating, and the Naira is waxing stronger and stronger.
All right, I hear you, sir. And while I agree with you, one of the reasons why I felt that the Naira was falling is because of the brain drain. And I like the fact that your submission to my question is interwoven with education. So I must ask you this question based on your last submission. Now, what steps are being taken to maximize the benefit of diaspora remittance, which have surpassed the FDI and foreign aid for sustainable economic growth? While you were talking earlier, you mentioned about the education year. How will the administration address concerns about brain drain, especially in critical sectors like education, like health sector, while leveraging diaspora expertise?
Well, you call it brain drain. It's not really a brain drain. Yeah, we produce many products, doctors, university graduates, and so on. Some of them, they leave our country to seek greener pastures elsewhere. That is what is normal. India, many Indians will graduate and go to America, go to Britain. At the end of the day, it's beneficial. What we call brain drain is also beneficial to the country if they remember the motherland. All these diaspora things you're talking about, diaspora remittances, is from our people who have migrated abroad and who now send money back home from the fruit of their labor. You see, labor, the way the world is, it's a small world now. It's a global village. The way the world is today, anybody with talent, any Nigerian with talent, you always get opportunities outside of, if not in Nigeria, outside of Nigeria. It's not a crime. It's something that even government on its own is trying to encourage it. People whose services are needed outside of Nigeria, the government can help them formalize the kind of engagement they have outside the country, so that whatever they are not cheated, they are given their dues and everything, and then the benefits, the nation derives a lot of benefit from that. China got a lot of benefits from its people in America, in the diaspora, India, similarly. So I see that countries are benefiting in the same way. So it's not brain dead. You have to continue to produce more graduates. You have to continue to look at medicine. They are increasing the number of doctors we produce in many of our medical schools. So if the world needs them, you can continue to churn out more, while we also make efforts to retain the number that we require locally. So it's not really negative. Government has seen that you cannot stop people from going out to earn some living, to earn better pay that we cannot match locally. So not a crime. So they can go out there. They said they should also, once they remember home and they send in money home, it's to the benefit of our country. And they also learn outside there. They come in to also teach those who are behind about what they have learned in the other countries of the world. The country benefits at the end of the day.
Right, many thanks again for that elaborate submission right there. This will be my last question to you before I move to the last segment. Sir, with all that you've shared thus far, how does your office plan to encounter misinformation and ensure transparency in President Bola Ahmed's government policies? And the reason why I'm bringing this question to wrap up the show is because as political alignment for 2027 begin, how is the presidency ensuring that mandates rather than politicking, because people have started speculating so many perspectives, and many think now that the focus of the president is to remain in power beyond 2027 rather than the needs and the demands of the people now. And objectively, I feel that you must speak to this question. What's your opinion on this? Quickly, sir. This will be my last question to you.
Well, I said you always put too many questions together. Let me just say, this government is implementing or fulfilling the promises they made to Nigerian people during the campaign. The government promised to do student loan, is doing it. This government promised to give credit to our people, is doing it. This government promised in the current campaign to abolish fuel subsidy, it has done it, and it is trying to ameliorate the effects of that policy. This government said to harmonize foreign exchange rates, it has done it. So on the part of campaign, it has done a lot to fulfill the promises it made to Nigerian people. And it will continue to do so. Even we are in the mode of governance. We are not yet in the mode of politicking. Politicking begins maybe second half of 2026. So we have the whole of this year to really show Nigerians what this government is capable of doing. And this government is ready to continue to improve on what it has done. And as I said, also ameliorate some of the problems that some of our policies have caused. Also, the question about fake news, well, the law is very clear. What is we have a cyber crime law that relates to about 7 years or so for those who are peddling fake news. This law has been used sometimes by the police. The surprise is that sometimes when the police apply the law, some Nigerians say, why are you arresting this man? Why are you arresting that one? If the law is there and we're not allowing the law to take its full course, then we're going to have a mushrooming, an epidemic of fake news as are there. I've sometimes when people just sit down in their homes, they just concoct stories and they push this into the cyber space, and everybody laps onto it, and it's all lies. The last time, I think somebody wrote a story that the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud, was dead and so on. It was fake news. And it was being shared all over the place. But the law is there. The people should be ready that the police have a duty to enforce laws that have been made by the National Assembly. And when they do so, Nigeria should not, again, be condemning the police for applying the law. The law is there. People should don't just sit down. All this isn't the right fake news. They are the right, they push into the space. They hurt some people. And it should not be tolerated in any civilized country. But I think that's what I would say. But on the part of government, the government will do everything possible to ensure that at least some sanity prevails in the cyberspace. People don't just say things, don't just write things and malign people, and then expect that nothing will happen thereafter.
Many thanks again for honoring my invite. But before I let you go, we're moving to the last segment of the show. It's been an interesting time with you. Courtesy, you are a resourceful guest. But there's what we call trending stories. These are stories that binds us as Nigerians, as Africans. And the first trending story, that caught my attention is that of the China dealing with another deadly virus warnings from WHO. And this is where I have an opinion as a guest and as an host rather, and I'll give my opinion first before I come to you, Sam, because this announcement by the World Health Organization, WHO, is a major red flag, if you ask me. It should get I think it should get us all hands on deck, both globally and locally. A global health emergency isn't something to ignore. It means that we are all at risk if urgent steps aren't taken. So Nigerians, we can't sit back thinking it's China's problem or China's challenges, like I like to refer to the word problem. I refer to it as challenges. So this virus can spread anywhere, especially in a globalized world like ours. First off, the government must immediately tighten health checks at our airports, our seaports, our borders. We cannot afford to let this virus enter our already strained healthcare system. Screening, isolation centers and quarantine facilities should be established or upgraded quickly. Our health ministry should be working round the clock to ensure that we are not caught off guard. Second is the fact that our health institutions, need to take this declaration seriously. Hospitals must be equipped with the tools and training to identify, isolate, and of course treat any, suspected cases. Protective equipment is necessary when it comes to diagnostic kits, and of course training for frontline workers are non-negotiable, if you ask me. Let's not wait until it's too late before we start scrambling for solutions. Prevention is better and cheaper than cure, they say. So thirdly is the fact that the public also has a role to play. I tell many people that when you point fingers at the government, you must remember that the four fingers are pointing back at you. Let's not dismiss this virus as foreign wahala. Basic hygiene like washing hands regularly, wearing masks in crowded areas. I remember wearing my mask all through this festive period where I enter places, people will be looking at me, why am I wearing my mask? And no, if you're informed enough, you understand why I'm wearing my mask. And avoiding unnecessary travel, can go a long way as well, if you ask me. People should stay informed, and avoid spreading fake news that can, create panic or lead to dangerous behavior, because the WHO's concern about, weaker health systems should be a lesson to us. Our government needs to also invest more in healthcare infrastructure, if you ask me, not just for this crisis, but for the future. A strong health system saves lives. Let's boost our confidence. Let's prepare ourselves for emergencies like this. Finally, before I come to you, sir, is the fact that I would like to commend the WHO for acting decisively and pushing for vaccines development. This is a fight for humanity, not Nigerians alone, but we must play our part as Nigerians. We have overcome outbreaks before, like Ebola, that have taught us vulnerable lessons. So let's apply that experience here and protect our people together. Again, we can prevent this global emergency from becoming a local disaster. Sir, what's your take on this? I'm sure you must have seen it.
Well, I think the government is ready. Don't forget we have federal health agencies in charge of things like this. Any epidemic or any health challenges, any virus coming to anywhere. So they are ready. If you go to the airport, you see some health officials there. That is their job. I think we'll not be caught off guard. I think this country will be ready in case of any health emergency. We've learned a lot from COVID, and I think we are ready if anything like that happens again in our country. I must thank you for this interview, and I want to wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
On our toes and giving us hope that the government is ready to tackle the health challenges that might come our way. But the last trending story that caught our attention is that of the drug baron parading a successful businesswoman and elite, which I saw on socials. There have been a lot of reactions. The arrest of this Alaja Aisha Fayesare, I don't know if I pronounced her name properly. She's a Nollywood filmmaker and supposed Lagos socialite, that exposes the shocking reality of some individuals parading as business people while wreaking havoc on society beneath the glamour and influence. And she has orchestrated an illicit drug empire that has undoubtedly ruined countless lives. This revelation highlights, a disturbing trend in our society where the pursuit of wealth has blinded many to morality, to decency, to the lasting consequences of their actions. What kind of legacy are we leaving behind when people like this are celebrated until their criminal activities are exposed? On this platform, every day, on each episode, we talk about on this day in history. So I ask again in pain, what legacy are you leaving behind? This is a wake-up call for us all, especially for our youth who are often tempted by the allure of quick riches and flashy lifestyles. We must stop glorifying people whose sources of wealth are questionable. Wealth without integrity is nothing but a tickling time bomb, as this case has shown us. And I want to use this opportunity to say kudos to the NDLEA and its chairman, Buba Marwa, who has also, graced this platform, for their steadfast dedication to tackling the drug manias in Nigeria. I feel that this must arrest and, and bring a lot of advocacy when it comes to many of us seeing the daily basis issues that is in front of us. And of course, in terms of warning and reminder that no one is above the law. So our youth out there, I consider myself youth, I'm not that old, even though I'm in my mid-40s. Hello to all the youth out there and everyone looking for shortcuts to wealth. Let us speak to the issue at hand, and let me use this medium to make you understand that quick money schemes don't end well. Whether it's drug trafficking, whether it's fraud, and any other illegal activity, the path to quick riches is lined with destructions, with pain, with eventual disgrace. So hard work may seem slow, but consistency is very important. I emphasize on that regularly on this platform. But it's only the path that guarantees a future that you can be proud of when it comes to consistency. So guys, as a society, we must do better. Let's stop celebrating dubious wealth and start valuing honesty, hard work, positive contribution to our communities. And it starts with us all. So to those already involved in such scheme, it's not too late to turn back. If you ask me, the end of that road is always disastrous, and cases like this should remind us that crime doesn't pay. Let's choose to build a Nigeria we can all be proud of, one free of the greed and selfishness can destroy lives and future. And as you've heard from our guest today, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, who have emphasized on the issue of patriotism when it comes to the value of us coming together as Nigerians will push us further. On this note, I think this is where I draw the curtains of the show. I don't think I can come to my guest for a submission, but I want to say many thanks to my wonderful guests, for creating time to be here, our resourceful guests, being our first guest of the year in 2025, Mr. Bayo Onanuga. It's a pleasure, for having you on this platform, and thank you so much for creating time despite your busy schedule. I know you're in Accra right now trying to plan for the inauguration of the next president of Ghana. And we wish you all the very best as you continue to navigate, the issues that affect Nigerians and Africa as a whole. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. Till I see you on Thursday, please remain kind to one another and catch me on Inspiration FM 92.3 tomorrow, 5 p.m. your drive time talk show. Bye now.